this topic, but before we dive into our topics and our conversations and our opinions, we do have where we got this topic from, and then for you to really understand what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to talk about today. So let's have the video, then we'll be right back.
In society, we've created a world where the best thing you can be as a woman sometimes is a wife to a man, but a man can have every other achievement. Was that the problem with that idea for yourself?
Yes. Yes, but it's also the larger question of what we expect of women in public life. And why I think that there are many people for whom Hillary Clinton is not relatable,
right,
unless she primarily defines herself in domestic terms, wife, mother, but wife in particular.
Right.
Because I think it makes people feel comfortable. I think people are very, people don't know what to do with the idea of a woman who has power or who's seeking power. And so the way to somehow temper that is to say, well, wife, I'm a wife, so therefore I'm not that scary.
Right.
And it's not, I mean, obviously I think marriage is a wonderful thing and it can be, you know, just such a joy and all of that, but it's that we raise girls to aspire to marriage in a way we don't raise boys to.
Right.
And I think there's a problem with that. So you have little girls who, from very early on, are thinking about the wedding dress, right? I don't know how many boys think about their wedding tuxedos.
Right.
Right?
Not at all. Yeah, that's true.
So what it means is that there's an immediate imbalance, I think, right, in just the idea of what is aspirational. And so I think what we should do is, in raising boys and girls, teach them that love is wonderful, marriage is wonderful, but none of that is something that one should aspire to. Right? When you say to a girl, oh, you got your PhD, but when are you getting married?
Right, which is a common phrase we hear all the time.
Yes, so that is the topic where we got our topic today, and then, you know, it's so crazy that we live into the world that we live into. So that was Chimamanda Ngozi, one of the famous authors that like really explain how she does talk about feminism and how books are always more about inspiring women in this day and generation and day and age that we're into. So hopefully you got to know all the topic we're going to be talking about it. So what do you think, guys? Please let me know your opinions.
It's actually crazy because I wouldn't say that I know why the society or where it even came from, but it's crazy how there is nothing you could possibly achieve as a girl in the society that will hold more importance for some people. At least the world is, you know, being more and more modernized these days, but there is nothing. Like she just said, whether you get a PhD, whether you buy your own house, like all of these things that we aspire, whether you achieve all of your dreams, if it does not involve marriage, people always question that.
Question mark.
Like, it's crazy to me, and that puts a lot of pressure to the people, and I feel like that contributes a lot to people settling, because as you grow up and you're 25, 26, 27, especially if you have the people who still have that mindset, there is like, you know, and it's crazy because I just finished maybe my master's. I am doing my PhD. I have the most amazing job. Like this should, how do you even know if I want marriage? Like that should be people's choices. So I feel like that pushes people to, you know, to shut all the conversations around it, all the pressures around it, and be like, you know what, any man decent enough who will approach me, I'll just go with it, because I don't want to be put under a microscope every single day. Or maybe another crazy thing, when you have all of those things, they're like, you know what, that's why you'll never get a husband, because you're so independent. I will never know why the society, you know, normalized that. But that is crazy to me.
Let me tell you how that breaks my heart. That last statement that you said, when a woman is very well put together, she has her education in check, she maybe just recently acquired a great position in the field that she's working in, and then she either has a car or she bought her house and she's not yet married, or she's still dating but not exactly settled, she's not in a serious relationship. And then people around her, women or men, I don't even understand how it's people of this generation who still say that. Of course, back in the day, people had a very fixed mindsets of where marriage was always number one and then all the rest to follow. But how do you tell a very put together woman, an established woman who's trying to figure things out in terms of her career, her education and whatnot, and they're like, oh, you are moving too fast. When do you think you're going to find a husband, or your husband or a man is going to be intimidated by your success? Honestly, I have come to terms with the fact that this is the world that we live in, which is so sad. No matter how much I can advocate for how wrong this is, because I truly do that. I have male friends, so many male friends, that people, they really do have this mindset.
Yes.
And then I sit and listen to them and I'm like, you know what? This is just an argument that I truly don't have the breath for, because they're, which is actually true, because you know you're arguing against something, but you know this is how society perceives women of success, or women who are moving towards this success, which is actually so sad. So they do actually feel intimidated and they feel less than, and they feel like they can't approach a woman who is put together, and which hinders the person or a woman from actually finding the man of her dreams, because at the end of the day, society's pressure leads you to settle. And you're like, okay, now I have to be with someone who is available, because at the end of the day, someone who is worthy of me, or someone who I feel like I deserve, feels intimidated, or feels like they can't be with someone who is either on the same level of success, or either I'm slightly above or even greatly above. And that happens. One other thing that I'm really against, this is just something that has always icked me. When someone gets proposed to, a woman, and someone tells them, I'm proud of you. Let me tell you, I go crazy. I really go crazy, because why are you being proud of me?
Weddings, even
exactly.
Like, you post a bride, and you're like, I'm so proud of you.
Finally.
What?
Finally.
Guys,
what do you mean?
Do you know how I get
You have reached your end goal.
Because
That's what
tell
it
me
means.
Congratulations. Fine, because this is an exciting part of my journey. Congratulations. This is something that I have chosen to do. This is something that is really exciting in a moment in time of my life. But I am proud. Proud is something that you tell. I don't know how to define this, but
like if you have been, I don't know, studying for years,
exactly,
struggling. If you have been applying for jobs and just like finding certificates and everything, yeah, you're proud of me. But really, proposed to? You're proud? Why?
I'm so proud.
Be happy
Proud
for me and call it a day.
Yeah.
What?
It icks me. I'm like, you know what, guys? I just hope no one ever does.
I feel like
Because I was really 9 and really, in Jewa, I always grew up.
Proud of you for having a husband.
As a child, always felt like I would always get married in the later years of my 20s, because I really feel like I wanted to put myself together, finish a certain point of my education. Not only that, really be established, because I felt like I never wanted a man to feel like he can sweep me off my feet, and then, God forbid, things go wrong. I don't have what to lean back on once things are not okay. And that's just always my mentality. And another thing is that my dad has always told me never to settle. Like, always know that you are worthy, and you do not have to pick the first man that comes looking for you. Your worth is not of the first person. You can accept that friendship, really take measure of your surroundings, see what's going on, and then make a very informed decision, which is what I love that I grew up with. But at the end of the day, society has really deemed women unworthy of living up to their own standards, in terms of putting up goals that they have set for themselves and actually following through and actually getting married in spite of those things. So I'm like, honestly, when will this end? But it's just so sad that this is a society that we live in, and I don't think it's ever going to change. That men will always be intimidated by women of success, or women who are put together, and they just want people who can be probably control and whatnot. Let me tell you, Lega, we have women and men will never be equal. That's one thing that I want men to understand. We don't believe that we should be equal. We don't have the same strength. We don't have the same things that we can bring to the table. All we have ever advocated for is equal opportunities, but that's not what we're talking about here. What I can bring to the table is not the same as what you can bring to the table. So just because I'm probably as educated or even more educated than you does not mean that you can be less of a man.
I know.
It does not stop you from being manly. It does not stop you from being the breadwinner. It does not stop you from making me feel like a lady and making me feel special. So that's just, I think, one thing men need to understand is that if I'm put together in a more educated way, or I have a great position in my job, it does not mean that you should be intimidated. It should make you actually feel proud that you have a woman who is someone and who is building something for themselves.
Successful.
Yeah, what do you think?
You are lucky that you had a father who taught you that at a young age. You're so lucky because, like, as you said, the society we live into doesn't really facilitate women to have more dreams than like marriage. Because as the question was talking about, like aspirations when it comes to marriage, girls grow up being told, hey, you have to get married, you have to find love, you have to find a husband. You know, that's the priority in terms of what girls are being taught at a young age. So I feel like what men are taught is totally way different. The videos we saw about Chimamanda Ngozi was like, have you ever had a man who's thinking about, oh, on my wedding day, not a man, like a young boy, like on my wedding day, I want to wear like a black
they just
tuxedo.
want to get into the workforce and start
That's
working.
the only, like, money, that's the only thing that men really aspire to. Like, I want to finish high school, I want to find a job, I want to start working. That's most of the aspiration for men. But women, most of the time when they like finish high school, the thing that comes
Especially
around,
when they reach 24.
24, like
And I
marriage,
also, like what
and that
you
goes
just
down.
said, I also think that from a very young age, as long as you are at the age of doing chores, what they tell you is if you're not washing the dishes well, is yesuwe bazakungarurira.
Dishes bireke guteka.
Gusasa, bro. Every
Utazi guteka. Imagine at 10 years old being taught that.
Yes.
That's
And
Don't
it's
get
like,
me wrong,
it's
you
so
can cook for your
normalized.
husband. You can actually learn how to cook. You can want
that
to do these
shouldn't be
things.
the goal.
That
It shouldn't be
the
tied
goal
to
of
marriage.
my life,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
guys.
So,
It's
yeah.
so sad. It's like I think it's the way women are raised generally. Even the toys that you're given, it's just like knowing how to take care of a baby, cooking utensils and everything. It's cute, I understand. But the whole thing, the whole idea around it is like...
Do you know where I
Yeah.
think it came from? Sorry, before you do. You know, back in the day, in the 1700s, 1800s, before women were allowed to study, before women were allowed to vote, before women had a say in anything, these are the things that they were doing.
Yeah,
and then even when it was passed into the law that women are allowed to go to school, women are allowed to vote, women can have an opinion, women can do what and what, it's just a tradition that was unfortunately passed down, and it just got lost into the day-to-day activities of what a woman should aspire to be. And so because women only knew to wake up, gutunganya inzu, wash dishes, mop the house, cook for their husbands, make sure that everything is ready around the house, even when they were added responsibilities of doing that and then also acquiring an education and working and being a mother, it's still like got passed down. Of course, less diluted, but it was still something that they had to aspire to do. So back in the day, you had to properly cook for your husband, take care of your husband, and which is, don't get us wrong, you should do that, but of your free will. It's not something that you should be told to do, and that if you do not know how to do a certain thing, then you're not going to be a certain person in society.
Yeah.
So that's why I think.
Like we have opportunities, or we are so lucky that some of us really grew up in the city where we access the internet, and also we have conversations like these. People can watch us who are home and they have those kind of ideas. But when you go down to rural areas, you find really girls are still into that lifestyle. Like, okay, when I turn 20, I have to start studying for a husband. 23, I have to be pregnant and giving birth. So most of the things that I can really go back to, even if we've said that it was like the mindset for like older people, but even to this day, like you can go back to universities where we were studying. Like some girls were like, I'm university. The moment I finish university, I have to get proposed. I have to get married the same year. So you could
crazy.
like I literally we had those conversations where like in university, like I'm university. The moment I'm done here, I have to finish getting a husband and getting married. That's the end goal. So I'm like,
And it also
I'm
never
like,
ends there. By the
yes,
way.
you have to have kids. You have to, and if you don't have a daughter, you have to find a daughter. If you don't have a boy, like the pressure of society goes on, as you said. But like I do remember going back to my university days, like most of the things that we were talking about, I'm like, I need to find a job after my internship. I plan for my, I think to plan for my life. At 25, I have to have these. 30, I have to have, you know, this. But when you ask a girl who's beside you, it's like, no, marriage is the only thing I'm thinking about. Like, don't ask me about the job, don't ask me about something. Like, at the moment my internship is done, I get my certificate from my internship, I'm out. I need to get married. So you could see the situation that happened with a friend of mine who had got like the way they gave us internship to go abroad. Like you'd go in German for like internship, then you get back in Rwanda, the first student in school, and then they picked a girl in our classroom. They were like, you know, you have to go. And then the guy was like, I have to go, but at the same time, there's a man who's about to propose to me. The man was like, before you go, you have to get married, then you go back, you come back in the house. I'm like, please, girl, settle.
Like,
you can still go for
breathe.
internship and then come back, get married with no pressure. But you know, with all that comes around with being pressured, and it goes on to our parents. As you said, this small conversation that we have at home, most parents really think it's okay. You know,
So instilled
it's just
in
like
their brains.
parents
like,
say they're just like throwing words out there, but it really goes down to a girl's mindset. And then when I feel like what you said, marriage is marriage is really good. We're not saying that marriage is a bad thing. Marriage is really good. But if men were taught the same thing as women, yeah, we might reach at 25 and what we have in our mind is getting married. That would be okay. But that gender imbalancement that comes in, that's what kills it. Like 25, a man is still looking at, yeah, I need a house.
And it's
I
crazy
need a
because
land.
when you are 25 and you are getting married, everybody is like, you're so young, he's so young, da, da, da. But then the lady
was like, yes, it's time
It's
to
It's
go.
about time.
It's time to go.
Thank you for leaving.
That
at 25.
imbalancement really pisses me off. I'm like, if we choose to teach the same thing to boys and girls, let it be. If we are all aspiring to marriages, and it all happens to like when the pressure is settling down, you're having that pressure of like settling down with your boyfriend. Your boyfriend has another
agenda. He's trying to get the dough. Wants to get money.
You get pregnant accidentally because maybe not even you want that you force him to go to marry you.
the home and then
The moment you get into that marriage, the boy has a different vision, and then that marriage, and people really, we talked about the effect. The effect that comes down is getting married, settling down for less,
and then you
settling
get
down,
there's
the
no
pressure,
going back.
there's
You
no
end
going
up
back.
not only settling down for less, but you end up finding out that you ended up with a person who you do not have the same goals in terms of what you want to do with your life. The vision is not the same. The end goal is not the same. Basically, nago muhuza.
Like 10 years in, your kids are grown, you are sitting home.
And you don't know what to do with each
No
other.
career. Yeah, you literally have no career. Your husband was the only one providing. You literally all you have done in your life is feeding kids, which is okay.
Because people choose
by
to
the
be
way,
stay-at-home
yes,
moms.
Yeah,
that's
If
what
that's
I'm
your
trying
choice,
to say,
well and good.
Well and
Yeah,
good, yeah.
like-
But don't look back in 10 years and like, what have I
What
done with
did
my
I
life?
do?
Like, that's the effect that I
Yes,
think.
and let's make it clear that wanting marriage and just wanting to have a family, wanting to have a husband, wanting to have kids, completely okay,
Still
totally
your
okay,
choice.
but only if it's your choice.
Yeah.
The pressure that society puts on girls, is crazy. Like, that's what we...
It's not right.
I feel like the pressure, the bad things are coming from definitely from school immediately, and then you get married. I feel like that's really a wrong decision.
Yeah.
Even if that's what you want, good for you. But I feel like you have to take that time of like processing being outside. There's an atmosphere we are in when we are like students, whether you're in university, no matter how grown you are. There's that atmosphere that you are in, but when you finish university, you did not go for your career, you don't experience like the outside world.
Sometimes you can even be studying as you're working. Yeah, my whole mindset towards it is that, are you ready? Mentally, because it does not matter whether it's an issue of like immediately finishing school and getting married, because sometimes you are as mature as you can be in uni, but you need to be mentally ready for that new role that you're about to take on. Are you ready, or you're being pressured into this new role, or you're being forced, or circumstances are actually putting you into a role that you are prematurely ready for? So sometimes you just need to put all that into account and wonder, okay, is this what I'm really aspiring to do right now, or I just want to first have a 2-year jump start into my career, then do this, or I just want to, because once you enter marriage, things are back to back to back.
Yeah.
Sometimes you either immediately get pregnant or not, but you just never know. Once you're married, all things are up to you and your husband. You are no longer your own. You're not making a decision alone. You're making it with your partner. So you should make sure that all the decisions that are being made prior to you having a partner is everything that you want. So when you go to settle, you're like, okay, I think I've done it all. And even though you do not want to do it all, make sure it's your decision.
Yeah. Listen, if you ever want to see like the picture of how this is literally embedded in our brains, you should compare the comments. There's these 2 creators. One is the mother who has a stay-at-home husband. She works in the healthcare and everything. Another one is a man who works in an office job with a stay-at-home mom. If you compare those 2 comments, when the mother, the one who has the stay-at-home husband, when she comes back home, the husband always, have you ever seen that? The husband always come to see her outside and then take her bags into the house. He always looks sad because he has been dealing with 3 kids under 3 years old the whole day. That's normal. But the comments are atrocious. They're like, oh my God, that man is so sad. He needs a hug. He needs a break. Da, da, da. Go to the comments of the man who works and he has a housewife who has a newborn baby. The comments are like, oh my God, that husband is so sad. Imagine going back home and you don't have a fresh cooked meal. She is dealing with a flipping newborn baby. Like,
anyway. You can never really make anyone happy, everyone happy.
As I said, we men and women are not equal. As you talked about it, like they will never be. And then when it comes to conversation of like how society treats men and women, and then how you said it's embedded into our minds, that's the thing we feed our children. When the moment they grow up, I think we as our generation that we are older now, we have seen this, we are having these conversations. I think we should be the role to change, to be the first one to really change the mindset. If you are giving birth to a girl and a boy at this moment as we speak, change that mindset. If it's like cleaning, let them both clean. If it's the conversation you're having for both of them, like, yes, you have to get married once when time comes. Both of them, not only the girls only, but you leave the boys only. If you are telling them look for a job, don't depend on a man, like. That should be a conversation for both genders. It should really be like affecting one part or maybe leaning on one part. So I feel like that was. Do you guys have any other thing to add?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, it's crazy going down to the gender. Like,
I feel like these men who have toxic mentalities, I feel like they will learn once they have daughters.
I know.
Go in the Zoom, but you shouldn't be.
Like really, the expectation in the society, it really goes beyond. Like you see, like for example, like you girls, you finish your high school, university, you're struggling to get a husband. That's the mandatory thing. You are struggling to get a husband. Finally, you get someone who picks you up. get in the household. 1 year in, 2 years in, no pregnancy. The pressure comes in.
Basically,
The pressure comes
Yeah,
in.
there's a time I was on a bike and then the motor guy was talking to the daughter kuri telefone bamaze iminsi bari batashye babonye amanota ku ishuri. And then he was like, "Wanya amanota angahe ko mama atari kumbwira?" I think the mother was literally protecting her. Muwe kuri telefone. Babonye amanota angahe? Arayamubwira asanga ni make. Reka nkubwire wa mukobwa we n'utwita. Uzambira mu nzu. And I'm like, how did we get there?
That's the conversation.
Yeah, see,
Ukavuga rero ati nimba atari kwiga ubu bari kujya mu
Kwarinda.
That's the crazy part about
Crazy, like, why are you like that?
Oh my god, I can't believe such conversations happen.
I was with the backpig like, how did we get
people
from...
who pray for you?
Arangije arakupa. I'm getting nganyumvira.
Like, you know, this people who pray like comes in houses and households that pray. That the first thing when they see a young girl like at our age, you're going to get a husband. That's the first thing that comes in people's mind.
That's actually not a bad thing. When I've also always prayed for my
Maybe
husband.
she was so, but they make you feel like...
Not praying to kuyango, when dabahari, but praying for characteristics.
Yes, that is
and
perfect.
Yes, that's mama wanje horaga mbwira ati ujye usengera umugabo wawe who you want him to be.
That's
so
okay.
Not
nice.
ngo ahagere rwose here.
I do want to sing, and then it makes you feel like, man, I don't know. Naratangiye mbere noneho.
Chikorera bisekeje pe.
Ati mpani gwaye umugabo ntabwo waramubuze.
Like sa.
Kuyeho igisuzu.
Even kuguha umugabo utaranabona akazi. I'm like, Pastor, change that prayer. Change it. I want a job. I want a paid check, please. Duheraho.
Oh God. That's the expectations these are. Then after God gives you a child, a boy. Then you struggle to get a girl.
You need to get a second one.
No, a girl, gender, none of the genders are Hindus.
How am I supposed to know?
The pressure is always there. But anyway.
Yeah. We do have the comments.
Yes, we have comments from our people. Let's see.
Yeah.
Chimenyi and Muyango, I think this is a fan page. They say, ngo urashaje gira utwereke ubukwe umugabo. Gisela says, it's a deep-rooted belief in society because girls were always undermined and taught that a man will save them. True. Epa says, because umukobwa iyo arengeje igihe kubyara biba ari insazi asha.
Wowe Epa, what make you think of ashaka kubyara to begin with?
AB says may affect their career choices. Okay.
Yeah.
Lisa says it affects their choice by making them work, choose over pressure. True. That's what we're saying. Kellen says actually this is because of different myths in society's head, and this discourage girls' dreams. True. Well done says it's because girls in the ancient times they used to say that they are for a home, they're for home chores, and the man hunts for the family. Yeah. It's back then mentality. Boris says, as Snoop Dogg says, that's how it's supposed to be. Excuse you, sir. This is not engraved in stone. You can change this, you know. I think this is.
Yeah.
Shout out to you. She says this was some societal worldview and norms, a must change pressure while deciding. True, that's the effect. Like we asked what the effect is. That's pressure while deciding. Let's see the next one. I am a Geneza says girls lose self-confidence, which affects choices. They're into a way of counting on partners, marriage. True, that's the effect. Vanessa says, hey girls, for me, no response. Love you guys.
Love you. Thank you.
Inwari says that's option limitations. Yeah. So those are the opinions that we had from our people. Yeah. People were actually also giving out the effects of the effects of having society put pressure on women to look forward to marriage as opposed to men. So thank you for always listening to the questions and giving your opinion and dishing out with us.